We're live. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order then, and we respectfully acknowledge that we live and work in Mi'kmaq as the steward of the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treaty people. Approval of the agenda and order of business. What did I take off? I forget now. Maybe nothing. Oh, presentations, yes. Diane Larder, New Ross Family Resource Center, will not be here, and Church Memorial Park will not be here. And other than that, I don't have any changes.
I just have a brief report, Church Memorial Park, under committee.
Okay. Any other changes?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Seconder? Seconded by Tom. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, public input. Oh, approval of the agenda? Public, well,
It's okay.
minutes are
It's all right.
5.1.
Yeah, that's fine. They're in their reverse order, that's okay.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm going by the agenda as it's given to me.
It's all right.
Oh, public input. Each person is limited to a maximum of 5 minutes, with the entire public input session not exceeding 15. Each person must state their name and address. Questions or comments are to be directed at the chair, and comments are open to any municipal matter. Anyone wish to speak before council? Yep, come on up.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Thanks for the song. Christina Nickel, 152 Central Street, Chester.
Okay.
I'm speaking in my personal capacity as a resident and as the most recent director of the Zoe Valley Library. Last week, I submitted documentation to council and to each of you, setting out concerns regarding the fairness and integrity of the RFP process and related governance matters connected to council's December 11th, 2025 decision concerning the Zoe Valley Library. As I do not see that submission reflected on this agenda under correspondence or communications, I am seeking clarification on the formal procedure for its receipt, how it will be entered into the public record, and how and when council intends to respond to the substance of what was submitted. I would also ask that this comment, together with my prior written submission, be entered into the public record, and I have given it to the clerk this morning.
We have all
Council
received
received
it.
it by email. It didn't make the agenda. There was 2 emails that I missed on putting on the agenda, so we'll put them on for the next council meeting.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Any other person without an appointment wish to speak? Not 9:15 yet, so I guess I'll. Minutes of the previous meeting. I'll do them now. Errors or omissions?
Second.
Moved and seconded that they be approved. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Okay, presentations, proclamations, and designations, long service recognition of employees for 2025. And for the most part, they're not here.
I saw them out in the hall.
Cliff's up there.
None of them wanted to.
They don't want to come in for this. They just want me to read it. 5 years, Lori Ann Harnish. 15 years, Tara McGuire, Gifford Dominy, and Robert Russell. 20 years, Cliff Gale. 25 years, Debbie Harnish and Chad Hahn. Chad's with us. 40 years. Pam Myra. And apparently they just want me to take their certificates and give them to them later. So that's what I'll do. Okay, 6.3, proclamation and flag raising request, corporate strategic management, flag raising protocol P103, email from Autism Nova Scotia. And they just want us to raise the flag. Anybody got an issue with that? Somebody want to move, we do it?
So moved.
Second it? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. 6.24, request for prepared proclamation, flag raising request, corporate strategic management, flag raising and protocol policy, email from Gaelic, Nova Scotia. We need,
This one has a proclamation with it,
so we're going to approve the proclamation
and the flag raising.
and the flag raising.
And you gotta read it in Gaelic.
You gotta read
Yes,
the
okay, I'll do that. On what day do I have to learn that? Somebody move that we approve that?
So moved.
Seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. My. Okay, committee reports. Recreation Committee. Had some motions there, apparently.
Yes. Let me get to the page, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the motion to award
Oh, yeah.
to the volunteer that will represent the municipality at the provincial awards.
Boy, is that coming up again already?
Yes, so it was moved, I'll read it, by Leslie Taylor, seconded by Nancy Wood, that the Recreation Committee recommend to council that volunteer Furman Young of Sim Settlement represent the municipality of the District of Chester at the provincial awards ceremony in Halifax this fall. And motion was carried by the committee. And I would make a motion that we, council, approve that.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
I think we all know him.
Mayors and wardens, do I have anything?
Do you know him?
Don't, it's just letting them,
Oh, you can speak to it. Yeah, I don't hardly remember that was what we even did.
It was just a networking event that was held, and we had a presentation by Nova Scotia Power, I
Oh, yeah.
believe, was that one?
Yeah. Yeah, telling us how they deal with everything and,
Yep.
yeah, that was a vote.
Deputy Ward may have some additional
you get it?
information.
Oh, yeah, sure
Pretty-
do.
Pretty lightweight, if you
Yeah, it
ask me.
was.
A lot of money spent for not much of a meeting. So, I don't know. We'll see what future agendas bring, but,
No, there wasn't much on it. no.
yeah. We bring our most expensive staff to these meetings, so it'd be nice if they had a bit more substance.
Okay, 7.3, Lunenburg County Senior Safety. Councilor Connors is not here. She may be here later, so we'll just leave that until
Yep.
maybe she shows up. Fire Safety Committee motion, 7.4.
Councilor Bremner.
Mr. Bremner?
Thank you, Warden Weber. At the March 18th meeting of the FAC Fire Advisory Committee, there was a lengthy discussion about the water, swift water and water rescue option that we have been part of. This motion came from that, so I'll present it. Motion to advise council that the majority of commissions are in agreement with the principal to contribute the cost of the annual maintenance to the future figure known as, at the time, of $40,000 evenly divided by the participating, moved by Chris Turpin and seconded by Lyle Russell. All were in favor. And that was part of our conditions of the application, if I remember right, to
So they're going to pay for the operating costs,
They're going to annual maintenance.
annual maintenance.
So this item is the one that we have in camera for discussion.
Okay, yes, okay.
For contract negotiations, and you'll get more information in camera, and then you can come out and decide whether or not.
Okay, so nothing needs to be done then at this
Okay.
point. This was just information thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Is Heather here?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to come up? Geez, I don't think these numbered, that's,
Hello.
is this it? I don't know. Heather and Kirk.
That'll do it.
Morning.
Good morning. So are we set?
Yeah, just a second here. Oops. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Enjoyed your song. We're all smiling though, aren't we?
Well, better in some ways to start the day.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good morning, Warden Weber and Councilors Church, Coolin, Vino, Brimner, Asaph, and all others in attendance. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for the support that you show for Chester Volunteer Fire Department. And also as well for your consideration and approval of the 26-27 Fire and Emergency Services budget along with the proposed tax rate for 26-27. For those who I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Kirk Collicutt, and I am the treasurer of the CFSC, and along with Heather McCollum, Senior Administrator of CFSC, we will present the 26-27 Fire and Emergency budget. So, yeah, good, the slides up there. So first I want to talk about the tax rate. So 3 years ago when this body started, this committee started, we recognized very quickly the need for increased funding for reserves and capital projects. The budget was, or the fire tax rate had been low for many years, and while it maintained the fire department, it did not leave a lot of room for things like the new fire trucks or for the build of a new fire station. And you can see from the slide, well, before I get to that, our tax rate was one of the lowest or the lowest in the municipality for many years. And the fire tax rate, what we agreed at that time as a committee was that we needed to increase the tax rate to get closer, if not above, what the average was in the municipality. We were about half at 7.4 cents per 100 of assessment compared to over 13 cents in the rest of the municipality. So what we had agreed to do as a committee is to gradually increase the rate. You know, there was some discussion that perhaps we should take the rate all the way to the average at the start. What we thought was a better approach was to take it gradually, 2 cents a year over time, and it would give us a better amount of time to understand what the real needs were, what the costs would be for a new station, and the trucks, etc. And so what we proposed at that time was that these increases that we were planning for in the fire tax rate would basically go to capital and reserves. And as you can see from the chart here, in the 3 years that we've proposed those rates, between 84 and 95% of that additional funding actually did go to that reserves and capital. So we've maintained the 2 cents promise in the third year this year, and our proposed rate is 13.4 cents. And you may ask, well, what about what's going to happen next year and the year after? Well, you know, that will be decided based on what the need is of the department at that time and as the build of the new fire station goes forward. So the next slide is just that. It talks about the proposed fire tax rate. So you can see in blue that the average for 25-26 in the municipality of the District of Chester, the rate was 13.7 cents. And our proposed rate for Chester for 26-27 is 13.4. So we're very close to the average, and that's assuming that none of the other jurisdictions put a rate increase through for their areas. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Heather, who's going to take us through the hard numbers.
Okay, so
Or
this,
soft, they could be soft.
thank you again, everyone, for having us this morning. This is the final budget draft 5. The working draft that we had sent back in February and for the fire AGM had some important data missing, such as the actual projected property tax revenue. So that has all been updated now, and just in drafting the budget, we compare budgets and actuals from the past 3 or 4 years to consider patterns, working very closely with the fire department. So this page just shows a summary of the operating and capital revenue and expenses, and they're just there as a snapshot to easily compare total revenue to total expenses. The revenue summary indicates the allocation of property tax revenue between operations and capital, and it shows separately in blue the project loans and consulting costs to date for the fire station project. That's just to make it easier to see what is kind of separate from the regular operations. Okay, so this shows for the current fiscal year, the year-to-date as up to the end of February, so almost the full year. This is 11/12 of the year, but please note some larger expenses like reserves are held until the end of Q4 to safeguard cash flow. So if a number looks low, that's probably why. In operational revenue is generated from the tax rate, which is set at 13.4 cents per 100 of assessment across the service area. It's the same whether in the village or outside of it, residential or commercial. Roughly 1/3 of property tax revenue will be used for operations and 2/3 for capital. In the interest of time, I'm only going to summarize each section. Note that the annual CPI is 2.1%. That is also an update from the last version. So the operations budget is the day-to-day costs of running a fire department. The first 2 items are the fire committee's share of village staff. This represents 25% of me and 50% of Maxine, who deals with all the accounts payable and all the rest of that. This is up about 5.3% in total. To get a little more realistic with some of the numbers based on actual spend, like office supplies, because while those have gone up, and it always includes some annual office equipment purchases at the department. Firefighting force is only up 2.2%, so roughly the same as this year. Training and education, this is also only up 2.5%. The increase is just to the bursary the fire department offers to local graduating students. Firefighting equipment has been increased about 12% to allow for additional tools and equipment and a projected increase to insurance. PPE, same as this year. A lot of this equipment has actually been ordered, but the invoices probably will not come until this fiscal, so we'll hold off. Communication, this is a reduction of 47% over this year because of 2 factors. The new radio purchase was completed. That was the radios that go inside the jacket so they don't melt when they're on site. And the trunk mobile radio costs are now being borne by the province. Maintenance shows an increase of 27%, mainly to do with vehicle maintenance. So we had a bit of an accident-driven surprise this year, so we need to allow more buffer in the future. Just a note too that we added like 40% onto fuel expenses, because who knows? As always, budgets are your best guess. Fire station building, this shows an increase of 28%, which is mainly due to a decision to consolidate. There was a maintenance item in operations and one under capital for the current building, and we just consolidated them here. Fireboat, the rescue, oh my God, I can't talk. The Water Rescue Small Boat Program is a landmark of municipality-wide cooperative venture with 5 of the 7 departments participating. A provincial grant paid for equipment, and this figure shows in the cost share amongst the departments hasn't been worked out yet, but we've put a placeholder of 10,000 in there in case that's how things go, because we are larger. In total, there's a 9.3 increase in operating costs projected. Let me go back one. Okay, so one item on here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, no, I can't. The capital allocation I'm showing here is just kind of a new way to organize the budget so that we show the allotment of property tax to go to capital expenses based on maintaining a balanced budget in operations. And of course, as usual, any surplus will be captured in operating. Again, so this is a new way to show revenue. So we have the first section there just shows the allocation of the property taxes to capital. And then there is a transfer from the building reserve, which is actually unspent loan payments that we had budgeted for the current loan for the fire hall. But none of those were needed this year, so we just bumped that to next year so that we keep that going. And then capital loans, this will be a whole other conversation in a couple of months, but so the phase 2 funding, you'll recall, was 1.3 million, and that is for the final design, and boy, that is going really well right now. So the final design and tender documents and everything to get it shovel ready. And then the phase 3 build, we don't know yet. We know what our ceiling is. And if you've met our project director, Wilson Fitt, you'll know those parameters will stick. He will make them go back and redo it if anything is over. It ain't gonna happen. In any case, once we should have, I'm going off script a little bit here, but we should have a Class B estimate by May. So we'll probably come back then with the request for loan approval, just so that we can keep the momentum. And that was on the advice of Municipal Affairs, who I've been kind of talking to regularly on this. Okay, capital expenses. So the capital equipment item includes some new thermal imaging cameras currently under consideration. Those are, whoops, did it go? Yes, it did. Sorry, where was I? Yes, because those are quite helpful when you're on site. The capital line item for existing fire station repairs has been discontinued, as I mentioned on the last slide. The deposit for the new 541 truck will not be needed this fiscal, and as determined last year, will go into the apparatus reserve, and the new amount for this year represents a 10% deposit on, we're assuming it'll be a $2 million truck. The tender will go out shortly, and then a supplier must be chosen, so we're a few months away from that yet. New station project, the line items in blue represent the costs for the consultants, which is the phase 2 architects, engineers, project managers, all that kind of thing. And then the new item for the build, which is TBD right now. Loan repayments represent the interest-only payments that are required as loan funds are drawn down for the project. Unlike in your personal life, the committee doesn't receive the loan as a lump sum at the beginning. It's approved, and then portions are requested in installments as invoices come in. So the payments increase, what we owe back in payments increases incrementally, and that just hadn't. We only started getting those invoices really coming in the last couple of months. So the bank hasn't billed for any loan repayment yet. Other fees for the new station include communications, which is like website and social media management from our contractor on that to keep the public as informed as possible, surveying, legal fees for land registration, et cetera, et cetera. This is unchanged, and administration is 15% of village management staff hours, which is mostly me. And removing an allowance for accounting we had this fiscal, which turned out not to be needed, so that number's actually come down. Excluding the new station consultant fees, the increase in the capital budget is 38%, which is mainly the projected increase in the deposit required for the truck and loan repayments. Reserves, we're planning on a total 23% increase to the apparatus and building reserve deposits next fiscal, which is 57% of the increase in tax revenue. So at the end of the day, excluding the blue fire station project lines, the total expenses are 22.8% more in this budget compared to a revenue increase of 25.6%. So, good shape, we think. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so before we take questions, I just would like to leave you with a couple points about the fire department. So Chester is very well served by the volunteer fire department of approximately 50 women and men. They give freely of their time and talents for the betterment of our community. Today, the needs of the fire department are so vastly different with our first responders: structure fires, wildfires, swift water rescue, electric cars, etc. The 26-27 budget is a step to help fund the station and equipment needed to meet the challenges of the fire and emergency services for our communities today and into the future. So at this time, we'll take questions, and then we'll make the,
Yeah.
so.
Anyone, any particular questions? Pretty much answered it or gave all the detail.
That's what we aim for.
Okay, Sharon?
Thank you. No, I'll just comment, pleased with that. I know that this will be easy to explain to the residents when they ask why their tax rate went up, which most do. You never want it to, you never want it to go up. And I think people are really getting excited about a new station and when it will come. I've been, asked questions, when are they getting this new fire hall? So, momentum is building, and I think overall the community support it. So I think it's exciting, we need it,
Well, we appreciate that.
and thank you
Thank
for the committee. I'm really happy that this committee was formed, and I think it's a good, going forward, a good process to have.
Well, thank you.
Just the other night, as you're aware, we had the Fireman's Appreciation Dinner, and that was good. It's good to have everybody out and get together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just as a little sidebar too, with the fire services review that the province is doing.
Yeah.
Turns out our model is probably going to be a bit of a blueprint for some other places, so obviously we're doing all right. Yes, so in the request for decision that covered the budget, sorry, Kirk, go for it.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
The draft motion is in there, but I just reproduced it here, if council is prepared to consider it, that the municipality of the District of Chester Council approves the Chester Fire Services Committee's 2026-27 Fire and Emergency Services budget and its proposed fire tax rate of 0.1340 per $100 of assessment.
Somebody want to make that motion? Moved by Tom, seconded?
I'll second.
Seconded by Sharon. Discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Enjoy
Thank you
your
so
day.
much, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Sharon, I forgot you were on the committee reports. You were doing a short Church Park one.
Yes. Church Memorial Park had a AGM in March, and we just had a meeting. I know that we're coming in today, but they were waiting for some information from Jameson Camo, the engineering firm, are going to have, some slides for council to help address the question, but just wanted to say that they're very busy, and revenue, received their annual statements from Bella Bovino, and the expenses exceeded revenue for the year by $81,561. However, they're very busy. They have a lot of projects. They receive an operating grant from the municipality, and they also get a grant from the Pew Trust, which is set for $52,000 8/32. They've gone into a 4-year period, so they don't get any more or any less. That's the thing. And they've just had to do a lot of things in the rink part. They have, the refrigeration system had to be, have some critical maintenance done to ensure that it was safe and efficient. The Olympia ice resurfacing machine had to have extensive maintenance. And just, of course, they have to do the monitoring of the roof to ensure the safety of the users. And both rinks have been permanently equipped with electronic monitoring equipment on the roof. And that monitors any movements of the roof and supports caused by weather conditions or snow load and, or a rapid temperature change. So, and another essential thing that they finally got the water situation fixed, that there's no shortage of water. They were buying water, and that was like $20,000 a year for water. But they now have fixed the dug well for potable water. They redug it to a depth of 25 feet and made a large reservoir in it, so it's actually good. And the drilled well is also being used because they need a large quantity for the rink.
The ice service.
For the ice. They wanted to let you know that they're doing all measures to ensure the safety of the facility and, you know, the necessary maintenance and things that are required. As you know, it's an aging facility, and that takes quite a bit. And just regarding the revenue from the user groups,
Is that up or down?
that is up.
Oh, good, that's a good part.
The hockey rink revenue actually was up to $205,000, which is 36% of the revenue. It increased by 10.2% over the previous year. And the curling club also increased by 5%, so that's good. So really, the major expenses are always, you know, repair and maintenance, wages, and utilities.
Okay.
Needless to say, the power bill is really high, but that's to be expected. I mean, it was $85,000 for power and, well, that was phone and utilities, so that's a lot. But anyway, I think they're doing well and trying to address any concerns that come up. And I know they'll be in, but they were waiting for this report, so I think they'll be in next week to report. That's all.
Tom?
Thank you, Warden Weber. Through you to Councillor Church, thank you. It's good to hear that things are changing. We went through a lot of years where maintenance was lacking. The well was always an issue. I'm so glad to hear that that's been resolved, and sounds like we have some new energy and some new ideas, and I encourage that to continue as long as that facility can be maintained within reason. And I compliment the people involved because there's a lot of work to that. That's nice to hear they're making some revenue on some of the rentals. I realize we still have lost money, but in the scheme of things, it brings a lot of pleasure to people that can utilize those facilities. I've spoken to many in the last year, and they're excited that they see things. The ice condition this year was very good, they thought. And it's nice to hear after they had some major challenges opening. You and I both know that the first couple of months were very challenging at that rink. They lost their ice once, the power went off many times. It got complicated, but the staff and the people involved, I want to compliment. Thank you.
Abdel?
Yeah, I was interested in the increase. So, I mean, if you know, I don't know if you know, Sharon, but was the increase in the rentals because of a price increase that we were charging at the rink, or was it more of a,
More volume.
it was more use, or do you know that?
I think They were trying to keep pretty good statistics.
Okay.
The price did go up a little bit,
Okay.
but there's more users.
Okay,
And
yeah,
certainly in
that's good.
hockey, and I think that fluctuates from year to year as, you know, if you're able to ice, say, a midget hockey or not. I mean, that makes a big difference how many groups you have. But minor hockey has increased quite a bit, and, you know, adult hockey, so it's more users. And the curling club said that they had a lot of youth curlers this year, which is good.
Good,
Yeah.
It's good to see.
thanks, Sharon.
Okay, any other questions? Not, thank you much. Now, Diane Larder, New Ross Family Resort Center is not, what?
Weber.
Yes. Well, it says Larder on my agenda.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm trying to read the agenda as it is, you know. Anyway, so she's not here, but would we just refer this to, I mean, I know that when she comes and does the presentation, it'll get referred to the budget process in all likelihood, so should we just do that now? Yeah, are they coming in the next council meeting? We don't know?
The email seemed to indicate that they were not gonna come in and make a presentation again, that if you had questions, we could refer them to them. They would
Oh, well, that's
answer.
why I wondered if we
But we
just
can
should.
double check and make sure.
Yeah, they have submitted a proposal for their
Yeah.
request,
Yes.
which will be part of the conference package that will be coming to council, so,
Okay, so you're gonna bring it as part of the package one way or the other?
yes.
Okay, good enough then.
When I spoke to Councillor Connors yesterday, she indicated to me that she thought they were gonna come in, so like, I think we should
We
get to
can
the
double
bottom.
check.
Yeah, I
What
think,
time's your appointment supposed to be?
It's supposed to be now, they're not coming.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just defer then, just leave it alone until you bring it back and, or they come in, whatever happens. Okay, 9.1. Is, second notice surplus property disposal. We've already gone through all that. I mean, I don't know if you want to go through it again.
No,
Or we-
only if council had any questions or wish to, but, no, we were, have it, given it first reading, so.
This is second and final reading. Somebody prepared to move that, or do we want to do another presentation? Somebody want to move it then?
So moved.
Seconder? I'll say Tom seconded it. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. I'm starting to wonder whether anybody's paying attention. Okay, 10.1, options to combine Heritage Advisory Committee, Village Planning Advisory Committee, and Municipal Advisory Committee into a single committee.
Okay, yeah, so good morning, council. This item resulted from a discussion at Policy and Strategy on December 4th of last year. Council had initially requested a staff report, and the Deputy CAO put together a report on a wide variety of our committees in terms of their mandates, how busy they were, ongoing issues, that kind of thing, and there was a discussion about all of those committees on December 4th. And what came out of that was direction in regard to 3 committees, so that's our Village Planning Advisory, our Heritage Advisory, and our Municipal Planning Advisory Committee. And council asked for some options or gave some initial direction to consider merging those into a single committee, Planning Advisory and Heritage Advisory Committee that would deal with those issues for the entire municipality. So hopefully that's what I've done today, bring back some options for you. And what I anticipate is following the discussion today, if you provide me with some direction on each of those options, then I can go away and come back with a draft policy and mandate for that new committee at a future meeting for a formal decision. So just to dig into it here, I guess I've tried to kind of break these out into different topics that we can work through, and happy to take questions as we go. So the first item, I guess, is what are we going to call the new committee? A couple of options there. I think we could still rightfully call it the Municipal Planning Advisory Committee, or we could create, just kind of start fresh and call this the Planning Advisory Committee. There might be some merit to doing that as a fresh start, as opposed to, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in terms of the existing committees, and we have a motion attached to this report from the Village Planning Advisory Committee, essentially saying they
Prefer to-
feel like to stay as is. So there's different kinds of considerations in that. So we'll need a name when we come back to formally adopt this. Next item would be the mandate of the committee. I think that's fairly straightforward. It would basically be combining the three.
The mandates they have.
Yeah, any planning issues for the village or for the municipality, and then any heritage
Issues, yep.
registrations or deregistrations, demolitions, again, for the entire municipality. So I don't, unless there's anything specific there that council wanted to change, I don't think we need to do too much on the mandate itself. The next one is the structure of the committee, and this one is probably, I think, the area where we may have the most discussion, because there's just a lot of different factors that can go into this. So traditionally, our planning advisory committees, both village and municipal, through different iterations, we've typically gone through district representatives. So that kind of mirrors how we have our councillors sitting around the table. So on the municipal side, we'd have at least one citizen representative from each of the districts, so that we can certainly continue that as a baseline going forward. But I just did want to bring up for discussion that is not a rule or a mandated piece of this. There are other options that could be considered if there was a desire to do that, and there's probably pros and cons to district approach to a different approach. So just as an example, one other way to look at it would be to come up with a list of professions or educational backgrounds that council was looking for on a committee. So that could be to have somebody from, say, a financial background, and somebody from an educational background, and a health background, and a research background, something like that. So we could do that as opposed to saying one from each district. I'm not necessarily recommending in favor either way. I just wanted to bring it up. This is an opportunity to revisit those kind of things if we wish to. In addition to that, I think there's a few other positions or special seats that we might want to consider on this new committee. So the first one would be, we traditionally on the Village Planning Advisory have had a seat for the Village Commission, for a Village Commissioner to sit on as a representative. So whether we want to continue that on this new committee is a question for discussion. Similarly, whether we wish to have a seat for a member of the Heritage Society to sit on this committee, because they are going to be the Heritage Advisory
As well, yeah.
Committee. And then further to that, things like, and this is where, really there is a discussion to be had here. So should there be more than one representative from the village on that committee? And there are, a variety. Now, that said, if we went with one per district plus a representative for the Village Commission,
That'd be plenty.
you could look at that as potentially having more than one, but yeah. So all of those, the makeup of that committee, and then also thinking about how large a group do we want, I think is also important. I'm not an expert, but in my experience, I found that, if you get a group much beyond 11 or 12, it gets very unruly. And it takes a long time because everybody wants to have input. And so you go around the table once and you've spent, over an hour maybe just getting the initial comments out. So those are all considerations when we get into, and I will at the end be kind of asking you for some direction on each of those. A final consideration, and this is just something that's come up in discussion in the past when we've talked about committees and how they operate, is whether council would like to specify anything in terms of who chairs those committees. So traditionally, and I believe this would be the same for all municipal committees, the chair has just been elected by the group, from amongst any of the members. There is an option if we wanted to put in additional regulations there. So one option would be to have one of the council representatives be a chair. I think the thinking there would be that, the chair, as you know, Mr. Warden is intended to facilitate discussion.
Yeah.
And so that would be, the thinking there would be the folks around this table might be a little bit more familiar with Robert's rules and how a meeting is to be run. It's not intended to mean that the counselor gets to have more say or voice over the meeting, but it would be more of a procedural thing. So just something else I wanted to raise as a potential option if we wanted to talk about that. Next would be the terms or the membership terms. Traditionally, we do 2-year terms for most of these committees, and I think that works quite well. Where we're starting from scratch, I might suggest that we stagger it, so some of the initial terms might be for 3 years, and some be for 2 years, so that we don't have a full turnover when we get to that. But I think in general, a 2-year term has worked well, again, unless there's a desire to change that. And then there will be a transition period between these committees. So let's say today I get the direction, I'll go away and draft the mandate for that new committee and then come back. And when I come back, what I would expect to do is bring the new committee mandate for consideration and adoption, as well as the existing committees for to be repealed, essentially.
Yeah.
So there will be a gap at that meeting after the new committee's been officially approved, but we have to go out and seek people to advertise exactly, and get them up to speed in terms of orientation and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to, we'll do the best we can, with our active files to try to avoid any delays, but there is a potential there that there might be a month or two where we don't have an active committee to bring files to. And then finally, and this relates to, as I said, there is a motion attached from the village planning advisory who wish to remain as they are, or as close to that as possible. We did have a discussion at that village planning advisory committee around potential other options. So if, again, the direction at the December 4th meeting was pretty clear that council was looking to combine these. And so in the interest of compromise, we spoke at VPAC about, okay, if you don't get what you'd prefer, which is to stay just as it is, what are some other options? And so that's what these last two would be, just, again, items for consideration. So it would be possible, should council wish it, to create a new planning advisory committee, and they would be the PAC for the entire municipality. Yeah. And VPAC could be, you almost think of it as a slight demotion, and they would still be a committee, but they would become an area advisory committee. So the way that works would be, if a planning file came to the village, it would go to the area advisory committee, the village committee, then it would go to the PAC, and then it would come to council. If a file outside of the village came in, it would just go right to PAC and then to council. So it's one additional step for files that would be within the village here. And that would be a similar approach to what we did when we did the 2020 plan review. We changed the village and the municipal to area advisory, so it gave an extra step. So that's one option. And a second option, which would be, I guess, a bit more towards combining them, would be to only have that area advisory committee formed at the time that the village plan was being reviewed.
Yeah, the same as everyone
And
else
so
in the
that would,
municipality.
right, and so that would give the more residents from the village input just around that review period to set the rules for the next roughly 10 years. But it wouldn't mean there was that extra step
No.
continually throughout, outside of a plan review.
Yeah. Okay, Andre, you want to speak?
You're pretty well to the end.
Yep,
aren't you?
exactly. Thank you.
So I'll lay down some of my comments. First, Planning Advisory Committee, in terms of the name, sounds good. Clean start, new committee, that makes sense to me, no problem. Probably should have a committee size of about 7. 7 works well for council. I think it's a good size. Seems to facilitate discussion, not too big, not too small. That would include the chair. I think that's about right. I could be swayed 1 or 2 either way, but to me, that seems like an appropriate size. I don't think that geography makes a good committee member. I think we want to encourage thoughtful people to apply for these positions, and then we choose the best. And we have a nominating committee that selects committee members. So, you know, if we have 7 villagers that all apply and they're all terrific candidates, then they should take those positions. Conversely, if you have a whole bunch of folks from the outside, they can take those positions. And I think that it's the nominating committee's role to identify the best people and to make sure that all interests are being, you know, observed. So, you know, but I don't think you want to harden it in the terms of the committee, that you have to have somebody from each geographic area, because what it does is it handcuffs you into taking folks that aren't maybe the best candidates and leaving other ones to the side. And I think that our nominating committee can do a good job of selecting the right people. And I think that's quite reasonable. You know, that's what we're supposed to do. In terms of keeping the village planning advisory committee as its own separate committee, the purpose of this effort is to try to consolidate these to reduce workload. You know, we're seeing most of the development is on the perimeter of the village, actually, because that's where the open space is right now, and we're actually not seeing a lot of development applications within the village boundary. And the village boundary itself has now become this artificial line that, you know, when people think of the village, they don't even think, like, the delineation of that line doesn't actually work very well as we have it currently established. So we have developments such as the one on Stanford Lake just outside the village line, and that's where these bigger developments are. Also, obviously, you know, just last week, we made an announcement of another 650 or whatever connections in Chester Basin. You know, and the number of sewer connections that are in Chester is something in the order of 800 and something. So, you know, we're anticipating over the coming years to build Chester Basin out to potentially the same kind of density that Chester will have. And so the idea of maintaining these other committees specifically for, like, what we call our urban center, it's not going to work in the even medium term, because both Hubbard's and Chester Basin are poised to become more denser populations. And obviously we can't have committees to govern every single one of these villages that are emerging. It just will become too unwieldy. So we have to have a thoughtful committee that can review all of these developments in harmony. So for those reasons, I would, I guess, probably support, I think, alternative option. I don't even know. But whatever I just said there.
Yeah, one single committee.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't designate districts, just allow people to apply when we advertise.
Yep.
Let the nominating committee pick the best qualified people.
Sure.
And the
And
best
I'm not real keen on having a specific place for the village commission. I mean,
No,
they
no.
have their own government, we have ours. You know, should a village commission member want to apply, by all means. In fact, they would probably be a very strong candidate. You know, they have that point of view. I think that would be very valuable, but mandating it again is, I think, just a bad idea. That's why we have a great nominating committee that's gonna make sure that we have the right people. That's what's most important.
No, I was suggesting just one committee, no
Yes.
specifics. Anyway, Sharon, you wish to speak.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. I agree with Councilor Vino on most of these things. I think one committee makes sense. I know month after month, we don't even meet. I'm on the Municipal Planning Advisory, and the village don't meet because there's nothing on the agenda. I think it makes sense to have one. I know I've come to a meeting and had one item for heritage, and it takes 5 minutes and that's it. So, you know, you're pulling in 7 people to have a 5-minute meeting. It just doesn't make sense. We have to think more strategically. But I'm not so convinced that we shouldn't have a representative from each district. I think we have qualified people in every district that we need to encourage them to apply. We can certainly add some criteria to the specs, what we'd like to get, but I don't think that I think we should be asking for a representative from each district. I don't think we should just go on, well, your qualifications, because I know we have qualified people in all of the districts. It's just who applies, but we can certainly add some criteria that we're looking for. I think that would be helpful. And as far as the chair, I know there have been issues with sometimes who the chair is. It's challenging, so that may be something that we may want to go with a
Council rep. might
council
work
rep
best.
being the chair.
Keeps it
But
simple.
I'm not hung up on that one, but I know that in the past it has been a bit challenging.
Larissa?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon, I'm going to reiterate something that Sharon had said, but as far as having district representation, those people would not apply if they didn't have valid criteria to back them up. It's not just anyone from any district saying, oh, I think I'll be on that committee. I feel that they should at least, if nothing else, be considered as a prime choice over anyone, as opposed to, I know the strengths of people, but if they're not going to apply, or if they don't have a vested interest now in like the heritage, whatever, then why would they even consider applying? I think we have to give some merit to anybody who wishes to step up and support their community in any way they can. I think district representation should be considered.
Councilor Vino, guess you're back.
Yeah, I'll speak to that point then. I would, in the terms of the new committee, I could support it saying that preference would be given for equal representative amongst districts, but qualifications being of utmost importance. Because we don't want to throw out somebody that's supremely qualified because they happen to be 2 from one district and we only get 1 from the others, and then we toss out the good one. Sometimes, you have to acknowledge that sometimes merit has to be weighed into this whole thing, and some people merit to be on a committee just because they don't happen to live in the right, or their home address isn't in the right spot. But I have no problem saying that our preference would be have a distributed committee membership. That there's no problem with that. I just don't want to make it. I would be reluctant to support something that makes it a hard and fast rule where we're trying to get one from that becomes. I've seen that in other committees where it becomes very hard to fill the committee, and then in the end.
That challenge with this.
We've had that where
We don't even.
we've actually had 2 representatives from, say, Councillor Coolan's area, with 1 serving as a rep for District 5 because there wasn't one for a period of time. It has happened.
Yeah. But Tom?
Thank you, Warden Weber, and I think I'm going to go back to the VPAC. I was at that meeting. It was a very good dialogue, if you remember, Garth. They had many good discussions. And valid is their concern that they feel that the requirements of the protection of the village is very high on their agenda, which I have no objections to. And the fact, I think Councillor Vino said it well, it's kind of limited now what we're going to be able to do in the village and that kind of thing, and everything's looking for the outside district. So for that reason, I'm going to stick with their recommendation that they do. But I'm also a municipal councillor, so it's kind of torn between 2 places here that I have to look at both facts and both considerations. And the people of my district our district have talked to me about, their needs or their wants. And things do change, and I get that. And they did discuss that, if you remember right, Garth. They looked at options. Some of the members of that committee looked at the reality of what the challenges might be for council and where we move forward. So thank you so much.
Okay, Abdallah.
Yeah, personally speaking, I'm not really too concerned, I shouldn't say too concerned, but how we make up the committee, that's important, but ultimately, these decisions are ours. And I'm not diminishing the work of the committees, I really not, because I sit on the MAPAC. But at the end of the day, we make the decisions, and it's nice to have good people in committee positions, but for me, I'm not gonna get really hung up on that. I'm fine with anything we decide. I just want to put that on the record.
Okay, it looks like we're all pretty much in favor of, or for the most part, in forming one committee, combining the three. And it looks like we're probably in the 7 to 8 people, or, well, 7, which gives the opportunity for each district to apply. And then, of course, the council elected person would.
Right, so
That's-
that
that
was
was the
one thing,
clarification
yeah,
I was
I
gonna
didn't
ask for
get
as
to
well.
yet, was just how many counselors, would we like on that? Most, MPAC has 2 currently, the village committee just has the village
Well, we wouldn't
councillor.
want any more than 2, I don't think. No.
So 7 members plus 2 elected.
2 elected, yep.
And,
Perfect.
and I think it makes sense for the councillor to be the chair, or at least that's what I'm hearing around the table.
Sure.
One of the 2.
Well, yeah, one of the
Yeah,
two,
right.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and with, and it sounds like, I'm gonna let you speak as soon as I finish this up. It sounds like we're sort of on the same page when it comes to, yes, in a perfect world, we would want a representative from each district, but we're also gonna take a look at the qualifications of the people and the balance between their qualifications to make the final decision.
I'll put that wording in there to Councilor Vino's point, and then council would have an opportunity to review that, and if you want to make any changes
Yeah.
before it's approved, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now, Tom, I guess you can speak, and then I'm gonna look for a motion.
I'm looking for clarity, that's all I'm looking for. So my understanding is, and I think we spoke about this, that when it comes to a village planning review, we have the right to appoint a
We always do.
village, and that makes sense, that's what I
You could
really.
create an area advisory committee
Right.
for any of the areas for a
If we're gonna
limited
go to a
term, like
full-
a
That would
split
be,
sort of
that would be my
plan.
wish if we're going that way, because we need to have, hear the views and the concepts and the ideas, and thank you.
Yeah, you can always do that. Hey, somebody prepared to make a motion similar to what I suggested? Or direction?
Yeah.
Or is that good enough direction to staff? Are
Yep.
people happy with that?
I think that's good enough direction for this one, yeah.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
done.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna do 10.2 before we have a break. The request for decision, repeal and replace bylaw number 74, tax exemption, financial information services, and they're not here, but all we're doing is giving first reading, notice of first reading.
Yes.
So we happy with that?
Yep.
Moved, seconded?
I'll move first reading.
Seconded, yeah. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. And now we're gonna take a 10-minute break. We're live. We'll call the meeting back to order. And we're on 10.3. Community beautification and revitalization.
Good morning, Council.
Morning.
So what I'm here today to go through is to put forward a request for decision that Council approve the short-term plans for our community beautification and revitalization plan that has come forward. I'll give more of the kind of the full direction that we're recommending as we go through this. However, it's to approve the plans and then in addition to that, to direct us to put those implementation costs in the budget for discussion. So essentially, we would be bringing, you would still have the opportunity to discuss the budget during the budget times. We're not asking for a pre-approval of the budget. We're asking for you to tell us to put it in the budget, which would then be discussed as part of the budget. So that's what the recommended motion that we will be getting to is that we will be getting to by the end of this. But just to go through what we're bringing back here. Back in July of last year, Council approved the Community Beautification and Revitalization Plan.
Yep.
And we've been working through phase 1 of that plan since that time. And the way the plan worked is we were directed to work with community groups to identify plans in each of our 5 hamlets, including the village of Chester as the largest hamlet that we had identified for this work. And to work with those community groups that would lead the work, we would do the support work and ensure that their plans and projects came in line with what council had directed through the plan. So that was our role as the municipal staff, was to work with those community groups. And we also provided an outline at that time of when we would be bringing back decision points for council, so that the plan was approved, but we also said here's when all the different approval points would be coming back. So there are 2 that were coming back early in 2026. The first was this, to review the plans that have been put in place so far by the community groups and approve us budgeting for those in 2026-27. And the second piece, which will be coming in April, which we've already discussed at a previous policy and strategy, is the business facade program. So we've received direction on that. We're currently developing the map that will be coming back in April. So just to walk through phase 1, I'm not going to go through each of these here, but if anybody has any questions, please raise them. We have, the plans are outlined in this table from the 5 groups. Of the 5 groups, 3 have gotten back to us with defined plans. Those are the village of Chester, the hamlet of Hubbards, New Ross as well, and the other 2 groups, Western Shore and Chester Basin. We have a defined group in Western Shore that we are just working with to turn their ideas into an actual plan. So I'm actually meeting with them on the weekend to kind of go through their plans and their ideas. We anticipate having their full plans within a month. And Chester Basin, we don't have a defined group, but we have had multiple residents who have expressed an interest that we've met with. The extra time on that is it's taking a little extra time in Chester Basin simply because we have to also go through the process of determining which group they might work with in the community, how we can set up the governance, how we can actually form the group to make their plans a reality. So we are working with them actively, and we think that they will come together. It's just that one's taking a little longer than the other 4. So I just wanted to point that out. So as I mentioned, the community groups are the ones who are leading this work, and our role has been to really support that, keep them on track with what the plan that has been approved by council has been, and then to bring this back to council here for approval officially. So if approved today, we would include a budget of $5,000 for each of the communities, for a total of $25,000 in the economic development budget, which would then be discussed and approved during the budget process. That's our recommendation, is to do that. To approve the plans that we have, so the communities that have actually developed plans, we would like those to be approved for us to include in the budget, but we're also suggesting that you include $5,000 for those 2 remaining communities, so we don't have to come back and have those approved separately, that we would, as staff, ensure that they meet the criteria that council has set, and then we would move forward with them once and include that in the budget as well. But so you would be approving all those plans, and then we would suggest that we could then determine whether or not the other 2 communities are meeting with goals. There are other options here where we could come back to council with those plans. However, we just the disadvantages to that from our perspective are it could delay the project, and these things are intended to be quick wins. So we're trying to make sure that they happen quickly over the summer. So if the plans came together in June, we wouldn't have to wait for a council session to approve and move forward. But that's obviously council's decision. So that's the basics of where we are right now. This provides the update on that, and like I said, if approved, we would be including that $25,000 for budget discussions in a couple of weeks. So.
Yep, Tina?
So just as a question, before we move ahead with any motions, in terms of the projects, as you just laid out there, approval today, hopefully, including the projects as they've been identified. So a question that I would have, and I could be specific about it, I could be specific about New Ross, and I could say one project, one area, because I assume it would be the area around the bandstand as well in New Ross, but for, in a time of possibly having other investment for that project in the community, and I'm not saying that's the case, but it could be. At that community meeting, which was, you were there and Ashley as well, thank you, and as you know, was certainly well represented from many, many organizations and individuals. It was a wonderfully, wonderful community public meeting in New Ross. Let's hope we continue to have more. But there were other projects that were also identified. So I get it happening in a reasonably quick time, by summer, et cetera, et cetera. What would happen in the case of, for example, that the bandstand itself didn't require any cash from the municipality? Could that group, not me, look to you and Ashley, knowing that you were at that meeting, and in the recorded notes there have been other identified projects, so it's not just pulling things out of the air. Would that be something that could be workable?
From my perspective, and this is obviously council would be the
Yes.
ones to give us that direction. To your point, we had a very good meeting in New Ross, and we walked through a number of plans. And this is phase one of a plan. And as we walked through with the New Ross group, we wanted to also identify additional phases that we could then move to in future years that would be discussed at future budget times. But the point being is that this is part one of a multi-year plan that we're hoping to set up in each of the communities. So we had identified multiple different locations. These were the ones that they put forward to focus on in year one. However, from our perspective, if these were funded, because as you noted, there are community partners who have indicated that they would like to donate to this as well to provide additional funds. And so if the funds were to be used on something that was also in line with the direction that council has given us, from our perspective, at staff level, we would do the same thing that we're doing with Western Shore and with Chester Basin and say, as long as it's aligned with council's direction, we would be okay with moving forward with it. Naturally, that would be something that council would have to tell me that we actually could move forward with. But I just wanted to, from our perspective, that's how we would look.
So again, specific to the bandstand, at that evening meeting, it was identified that a funding application had been put forward. We were denied, that group was denied that funding application. However, a local business has come forward and indicated that they would supply all the materials required to do what's needed to do with that physical structure. And I just realized that we're talking about, a project in New Ross being driven by the New Ross Regional Development Society, which I have not stepped away from as a member. So I'm now here part of the discussion, but I guess I should remove myself when it comes to a motion to support the list of projects. Declare a conflict. Thank you.
I think we'll all have to declare a conflict, then who's gonna vote? We're all involved in our communities, I'm tired of that. Abdallah, take me to this court.
Okay, thank you. Brian, I guess my question is, I know Together We Can Community Group has been, or they're gonna be designated this. And for me, as the council knows, that was an ongoing thing with Walt Rose Park and the flower baskets. So if this organization decides they want to do that, it's not on their property, but obviously they're going to be hitting up this. That's what I'm looking at, because it's getting into that season now. If we don't start soon, that will be again not. And I understand the argument last year, and budget's coming up, are we gonna, so I'm gonna speak with the group. I spoke to Gina casually about it, if they were interested maybe taking that project on. And of course, she was more interested in what it was gonna cost and things like that. But I don't know if you could talk a little bit about that or what.
I can, a little bit. So we've met with the group in Western Shore, and I'm meeting with them again on this weekend to kind of discuss that. They put out a community survey.
Yep.
They received over, I believe, 100 responses.
saw
It was very, very positive. So there were a lot of ideas. So that's where we're working with them right now to take those ideas and actually turn them into a plan. Because similar to what we did with some of the other groups, there's a lot of ideas, but we want to make sure that we're focusing. You said it's not on their property. The point of this is not for their property exclusively. It's for the hamlet of Western Shore. So we did the same thing when we were in discussions with the Village of Chester, for example, where we tried to expand the scope beyond some of just their, like, for example, yes, a community garden on the site might be a great idea, but can we also do things for the rest of the community in different areas? And the flower baskets were definitely one of the things that I was going to mention because I knew it was very important to the community. So it was something that I was going to bring up this weekend as well when I have that meeting with them. But I do want to point out, we are not the ones leading it, and the community group ultimately is the one that
That's right.
finalizes their plans, but we're trying to expand the scope to ensure that it's about community beautification, not property beautification. For specific properties of businesses, we have the business facade program that we're working with, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Clarissa?
Motion to approve option one, for approve of staff recommendation that a budget of 5,000 per community, with the advantage of holding the two that have not yet come up to submit their application.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
Just before I leave, just so I can get some clarity, can I confirm with council that the direction, even though it's not in the official motion, is that if money needs to be reallocated because other community groups come in and fund, that we can.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've worked.
I just want to confirm that as long as we're fine. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Okay, 10.4, PACE program status. That is where it is, whatever.
Good morning, everyone. So this is following on, if you recall, at last week's special council, I just gave you a brief verbal update about what was going on with our agreement with Clean and the Clean Energy Financing Program, which is our PACE program with them. So that program is being cancelled, and so we're looking at what to do next. So there are a couple of immediate things that we're looking for to council for in terms of direction. One is we do need a motion from council if you agree to extending the existing contract terms by a few months in order to close out the current active file. So that would be an extension of the existing 25-26 agreement to take it through to the end of November 2026 in order to close out those active files. So that's one thing. So there is a draft motion there if council wishes to adopt that. The other item is what next? So one of the things, the default position right now from our perspective is, given that we have a bylaw and a policy in respect to a PACE program, is that we're going to proceed to look at all possible alternatives in terms of third parties to deliver this program. That being said, if council chooses at this point to sort of decline and not pursue a PACE program, then that is council's option. And you just need to make that clear, and then we'll cease and desist with our current action. But if council is in agreement that we should pursue, and nothing is locked in stone, obviously, this would be about doing some research and analysis and determining what options might exist. Yeah. So we would proceed with that as a next step. Well, one thing I will say is, as best as I can determine, there is one other PACE program third-party provider that operates in not just Nova Scotia but the Atlantic provinces, and they're called Switch PACE. I have consulted briefly with a couple of people who are familiar with that program, and while comparable, it may not be as flexible as the agreement we had with Clean, but we can delve deeper and just see what that looks like. So that's basically what's on the table in front of you.
Okay,
is
we want to extend the contract, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of a motion, yeah. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. And take a look at the options.
And take a look at the options. So what I'll do is bring back that report, I'm hoping May, and then we'll have a clearer sense of where that's at.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, thank you all.
Okay, Community Well Agreement District 2. No, we just want to sign it.
Yeah.
We just want to sign it, that's all you want, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's just an update that we still feel the estimate is good and they're willing, if we're willing.
Somebody move it? Moved, second, discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Well, I mean, we've agreed to it already, so, it's not, yeah, what else are we gonna do? Okay, 11.1, correspondence from Attorney General, yeah, telling us we owe retroactive pay.
Actually, it's, we
Oh,
don't
no, oh, we
owe
don't owe it.
retroactive pay.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's right.
11.1, 11.2, 11.3, we can probably, those are just for information and to receive.
Oh, good. New business, new private road name, okay, gotta find that one. You didn't put any numbers on these.
Oh. This is a new private road, that's what.
Yep, I got that one, new private road.
It's okay, I can take this one, yep. It's just a, approval of a proposed, private road name, in East River Point, and so you have the recommendation in front of you unless there's any questions. These are usually pretty easy.
We can approve the name?
Yep.
Everybody,
Oh, sorry, approve one of the proposed private road names, so there's 3 of them.
well,
maybe
which
we do
one,
need chat.
are they not recommending any of them?
They did not recommend. The proposed name of Shipyard Lane would be a unique name, so that's the unique.
Seconded, discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried.
Enjoy your new name.
Okay, cost of living consideration, salary, bonds, union resources, remuneration, yeah. We've already done this, haven't we, or went through?
Nope.
No?
No, this is new for the
This is new. Yep, so.
Well, yeah, but it's same as every year.
So this is a recommended motion to approve a 2.1% increase to the compensation levels 2 through 9 for the employee salary scales, and then to give first notice to amend PO9 for the remuneration of the warden, deputy warden, and counselors by increasing salaries by 2.1%. So this is a standard request that you get every year. Our policy says that we'll bring forward a request for decision around the increases, and it's based on the CPI for the year for Nova Scotia, and for last year, that was 2.1%. So I think you have a
Somebody moving
couple
it?
of options, yeah.
Moved, seconded, discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Amendments to municipal secondary plan strategy removal policies related to archaeological assessments. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, so, yeah, back again. So this is an issue that was identified by staff, and it has come up through a number of projects that have come through council. So you may have recalled some discussion around it, but it just, it felt to staff like time to take a deeper dive into it. And so what we're seeking here is direction to proceed with an amendment process, which would include the staff report, policy analysis, go through our planning advisory committees, and then ultimately back to council. So the issue here is essentially around archaeological policies that we have in
Where
our
do we get the
planning
staff to
strategy
do
and
that?
land use bylaw. Yeah, so I did a bit of digging here and found that these were first introduced in our documents in 2008. And actually, the staff report of the time was very insightful and really highlights, I think, the issue here that I'm trying to highlight today between what was originally intended when this was brought in and between how it's being administered and following through today. So just as a bit of quick background, in both our village plan and our municipal plan, for any projects that require development agreements or any land use bylaw amendments, which could be like a rezoning or any other change to the land use bylaw, there is a policy or policies that essentially say that the council should be satisfied that the proposal is not premature or inappropriate to, and it's listed as proximity to places of known or potential archaeological significance as indicated by the province. So back in 2008, when this was initiated, according to the staff report that I was able to track down and review, what appeared to be the intent was that the province would share their data set with the municipality, saying where these known and potential locations are, and then when an application comes in,
If it was next
planning
to it.
staff would be able to say, heads up, there's a higher potential here, or there's lower potential, or, you know, just give some general advice as to whether or not they should be looking into more studies or whether more, specific study would be needed. In reality, what's happened is we were never provided that information from the province, and I don't want to make that seem as if they weren't willing. I'm not sure what happened there. In recent years, I have had a discussion with Community Culture and Heritage with that department, and there is a process where they will share that data with us. And whether that's changed since what was originally started here in 2008, I'm not sure. But today, were we to request that data from them, they would share it with up to 3 staff who sign essentially a confidentiality agreement. So we still wouldn't be able to provide the general advice to the applicants that we wish, which was the whole intent
No
of this.
point to it then.
Further to that, as I've dug into this, and I did consult with Sam on this as well, there is no implicit area in the Municipal Government Act where it says that we are authorized to administer policies based on archaeology. So theoretically, it also is a potential risk, or we're kind of getting out of our area of jurisdiction. So for all of those reasons, my recommendation is that council direct
just
staff
remove it.
to prepare some amendments, which will then go through our normal amendment process. Exactly, essentially just removing it out. The final piece here is that there is existing provincial legislation to
They
cover
can deal
those.
with
So if somebody anywhere at any time is digging and they come across archaeological findings, they're required to stop and report that, and there's a process there. And the minister has powers to designate special sites and that kind of thing. So I would say what it appears like in hindsight was a well-intentioned policy, which is intended to be just a quick heads up, and what's resulted from it is just what you might call bureaucracy or red tape. We're duplicating an area of provincial legislation, and this has actually hit a number of projects where when we seek comments today from special places, they will almost always recommend that further study be undertaken, and that's at the developer's expense. And so what's happened with those projects is either the developer has agreed and paid whatever the cost would be, or we've had to bring the file to council to say the developer is not willing to go further, and then council's in a position where they have to determine whether that policy has been satisfied by the initial comments or not. So,
Andre?
Yeah, so I agree with everything you've said so far, Gareth. I think you did a good job of summarizing. It is worth noting that all of our as-of-right development happens all the time without any of these assessments.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you own a piece of land, you can excavate every inch of it if you want, if you're doing some sort of as-of-right development, and dig up all the arrowheads or whatever it is that's in there. And that's no issue. We have no problem with that. But, you know, should they ask for a development agreement or something, then suddenly we have an interest in archaeology. And that's the whole absurdity of this whole framework that we've set up for ourselves years ago. So if we can remove this and just leave the burden with the province, just as we would with a wetlands alteration or any other provincial designated activity that's controlled provincially, I think that makes more sense. So I don't know if we need a motion or if we just give direction to staff here, just verbally, or what you want. All right.
Direction to
I think
go
that-
and
Please go
remove
ahead,
it.
by all means.
Yeah. I'm all in favor, but
Run, don't walk.
I have one question. Sometimes when we get federal funding, they require that we do this.
Right, and so I think for our projects, that would be, there may still be cases where we have to go through that, but we, as the land use authority, we wouldn't be asking for it from our developers.
But the
But yes,
feds, or whatever.
the sidewalks
If it's part
require
of a
those.
funding requirement.
All right, well, now that you've erected the soapbox, I'm gonna stand on it. So I'll just speak to that, and I'll have to say on record that that's another layer of absurd bureaucracy and false economy that exists. So, you know, should we decide that we wanna dig up a sewer main that's down Duke Street, it's been there for more than 100 years or whatever, and we wanna change it from a 6-inch pipe to an 8-inch pipe, if the federal government comes in and are a funding partner with us, then suddenly we have this requirement to do this archaeological assessment and send the results of this assessment to our local native governments or whatever to review and pay them to review it,
Yeah.
so that we can obtain these funds. But should we not have this financial partner, then that's fine, you can change the pipe out and put a different pipe, and any sane, normal person would understand that really there is no risk in either case. And this false economy that we create through this level of federal bureaucracy seems to go unchallenged, because, you know, of course, we're grateful to get the funding, and we realize that we have these strings attached, but I think the ordinary person listening to this right now, if you're there listening, you know, we should be outraged at these kind of layers of, that we talk all the time about red tape reduction and all this stuff. But it's all it is creating this false economy of reports and bureaucracy that the developer, the municipality, or whoever has to pay, and then have another group then review. And how often does anything ever come of it? You know, if in Bridgewater, they dig up like a sewer main on York Street and change it out to a new one, you know, who's reviewing that report? And why is that report being created? It's absurd.
Yeah.
And even if they found something, what then?
You still gotta do it.
We still need the sewer that's been there all along, so there's just absolutely no sense to it. And the ordinary person doesn't understand the burden that this places on the development of projects. And, you know, they should be outraged, but unfortunately, most people live in blissful ignorance. And only those that are aware of it just lose our sanity on a regular basis because we have to deal with it. Now, there you go, I'll step down from the soapbox,
Okay,
thank
well,
you.
at least we can give our staff direction to remove it from our workload.
Yep, absolutely. Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 12.4, Chester-based wastewater upgrades, expansion, Department of Public Works. Yeah, as far as I know.
Yes, following our meeting and announcement last week, this is just our detailed cost to date and our projected costs which line up. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's further to the funding announcement last week. This is a detailed breakdown of the cost to date and the estimated cost going forward, which lines up with that new estimate. It's higher than the original estimate because we got approval through council to expand the wastewater system to the former school property for that development. And we have a larger outfall planned further out into the harbor, which would be better for the environment as well. And, you know, some of the unknowns that are out there in pricing, and we'll see what the tender brings, right? So we ask that council approve the updated project budget schedule and associated funding streams for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade and
I'd be
collecting
happy,
system
but I
expansion.
can't make a motion.
Right.
Seconder? Discussion, all of
We're spending on archaeology.
Well, we're the federal government, we're doing something, I can't remember what.
Yeah, we finished the area, we did, preemptively did one, and that was less than 10 grand. So, nothing of significance has been found, but they are submitting that to CCTH, and we'll go from there, yeah.
What's CCT?
Yeah, yeah, and it's the provincial department there, and then they'll forward that on to KMKNO. No, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. When can I get a look at the design and the building and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we could show you something pretty quick on that. It's a 90% drawings there, and we have renderings and that. It does have odor control and noise control. There's no open lagoons anywhere on site.
Are we extending the outfall pipe?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of this stuff, but I just haven't seen it.
That's right. It's
And the
a
design of the building to
slightly
make
bigger
sure it
pipe,
fits
and they're
in.
going further out in deeper waters, further out in the harbor, yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of requests when people want an update on what's it gonna look like and this kind of thing.
Yeah, once it's out for tender, then we can put more on our website as well. There's some renderings and make it blend in with other homes and that, so it's pretty sharp.
Okay.
Jen
so-
is working on a website, I believe, right now for our wastewater expansion projects. And then my understanding from brief discussions with her is it'll be on engagechester.ca. It'll be a project website for wastewater expansion, and then nested in there will be the individual projects with more information. She's working on that. She's on vacation this week. I think you'll see that in the next couple weeks. So that information will be there, but if council wanted a specific update on this project, we could bring it forward.
No,
But just looking to get the
I just
information
want,
out,
I
yeah.
just want something that I can share with
Yeah, it'll be-
members
it'll-
when they
it'll be
ask me,
coming,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Are you on for the
Got
next
the next
item?
one too, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lift station upgrades.
Yeah, as part of the capital program, this current fiscal year, we kind of looked at all our upgrades that was in that earlier report, and we picked 3 in Western Shore. So I gave a little bit more detail on where the 3 lift stations were. And that study that we based our cost estimates on, it was, the numbers have gone up quite a bit since then. We since made other modifications. We're taking some of the concrete structures out, so hopefully the budgets will come down a bit more. But these are the budgets that the consultant has given us, which is higher than the other ones. So we have to bring it forward, of course, for approval before we proceed. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the updated project budget schedule and associated funding streams. The
Right.
general lift station upgrades capital project.
move seconder, seconded by Clarissa. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. Okay, Aaron, I think you're on for 12.6. Q3, Q4.
Yep, so this
Department
is,
updates.
this can be just received for information unless council has any questions. It's our Q3, Q4 department update for corporate strategic management.
Okay, we'll receive it. We got it.
Thank you.
12.7, arts and culture update. Oh, how are you doing? It's good.
So I just have a quick update for you on work that's been completed and underway for the strategy. 19 action items were identified in phase 1. If council remembers, it's broken up into 3 phases. So of those 19, 5 are complete. 11 are underway and ongoing. They're tied to our community beautification, our growth plan, and also a few of the items will continue to be ongoing as they benefit our arts and culture community. As the community wants them, it's just important to get them started in phase 1. Council has the list there in front of them.
Yep.
Are there any questions or anything?
Anyone, any questions? No? We thank you very much for the update.
You're welcome.
Okay, 12.8, J-Class road sharing agreement.
Good morning, council. In your package today is we've received the next agreement for the J-Class road paving program. So it expires next March, but they like to get it out early to everybody. So basically, it would be your signature saying that you're gonna commit to at least applying to the next one. So I just need a,
Yeah. Well, we're going to apply, yeah, and see what happens.
And I think Tammy can give you an update. We just got notification yesterday.
So yesterday at 1:30, that's why it wasn't in your package today, but we were declined for all our roads this year. So we have no paving this year at all. We're still going through with the one that was done, so this year we will not be getting any roads done,
Well, there's nothing we can do about it.
so.
Okay, so what do we, oh, Councillor Bremner?
Thank you, Warden Weber. I just shake my head, I'm sorry, I just don't understand it. I mean, most of our roads need major work, or many of them do. I know in the village, I get calls every day on road conditions and potholes and things that it seems like they make Band-Aid patches and then they never stay, and it's just ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. And I shake my head. Roads, transportation are the number one, for moving things around and people's safe travels. Central Street here is just a disaster at the end of it and coming up, it's broke all the way, and this just bothers me so much. I wish we had more leverage. I know we meet with them quarterly, and I keep expressing my concerns, and I keep telling people, you got concerns, email the Public Works and tell them what your thing is, get a ticket number from them that you're in the queue and see what we can do. But more than one voice is important, and I hope the public will take advantage of that, because this is sad, honestly. Thank you.
Yep. Andre?
I'm not gonna drone on and on about the condition of some of the roads in my district, although I could. But I will say that, we do have the ability to share information through our social media. I think it's important for us to communicate with the residents that we do have J-class roads in our area and where they are, and that they're owned by the province, and that we participate in a 50-50 resurfacing cost campaign with them. And that to date, every time we've submitted roads that need resurfacing and they've been selected by the province, we have participated. We have never once not come with our share of the money to participate. We want to resurface these roads. We need the public to know that the municipality wants to resurface their roads, but they're not our roads. And without the owner of the roads participating, we can't resurface the roads. And somehow we need to communicate this to the public, because they don't understand. The ordinary person doesn't understand. They think the municipality is the problem, and we're not. We want to fix their roads. We want it so bad. And we receive the calls, all of us probably receive calls about these roads. And it's just a terrible position to be in as a municipal councillor, just completely powerless to solve the problem or even influence its direction. So if there's something we can do from a communication standpoint to tell
I think we
the
can
public.
put together a list of those which we have approved over the last 5 years, whatever the case may be, and
I think it's important
and
that
the
we tell them
statement
that we had.
we have always done.
The 10 roads that we applied for, and that none of them were selected by the province to be.
Yeah.
I think that's important to communicate that.
Yeah.
It's not us, we want to do it.
Yeah, I think we can make a statement.
Sorry, Tammy, I'll be interested, if you know, this is the first year haven't been for quite a while, hasn't it? Would you say, or?
Well, yeah, we've gotten quite a few.
We've been rejected before?
I'm trying to remember, we've only participated in the program since 2018, I believe, so I'd have to research that and get back to you.
I don't ever remember since I've been here that we never got picked at some point every
Usually they
year.
give us a few feet of some.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we get a piece of this and a piece of that.
I don't recall
No.
a year that we haven't gotten anything. We don't always get our first choice, but I don't
But
recall a year.
they
that we
usually
haven't.
pick us for some amount that fits within the, yeah.
That said, there's also been situations in the past where we had one road approved and they'll come back later on and give us an option to do others when there's additional money in the budget. I will say that we're aware of one municipality that got a portion of a road approved, and I won't say what that is because I don't know if those announcements have been made yet, but the cost of the road, of that portion of the road, the cost of that project was $900,000 a kilometer. So when you have, $1 million in the J-class road program and you're at $900,000 a kilometer of road, that's not gonna go very far, so, yeah. Councillor Asaph and Councillor Gruner.
I just, actually, I lost my train of thought. You go ahead.
Okay, Tina.
Thank you. So just to pick up on Councillor Deputy Warden Vino's thoughts around getting the messaging out there, I don't think it ever hurts just when we, and Jennifer does a great job in terms of communication, and the rec department as well, like our 2 social media areas. But it's more of a kind of like a did you know, right? So I know with Councillor Bremner and receiving calls, probably more so than me, for example.
Well, they have more J-class.
Yes. I don't think it hurts to remind people that they are, and something that Deputy Warden Vino had said, that we are not the owners of those roads. So remind everyone, I mean, again, you can do what you just want to do, right?
We can put together an
So,
article
yeah,
identifying the
I think in the
J-class
news-
roads
who
and that
knows, in
they
the
aren't
newsletter,
ours.
if we ever need a filler
cost you
article,
this, that,
I think it's
whatever.
good information. Again, we're not the owners, and also too, what our level of responsibility, what we can do with the J-class roads, really, just very simple, just to remind people, because again, it's not necessarily about the shoulders of those roads, it's about resurfacing only, I think, kind of thing. Also, too, I would be curious, and I know it's just an added thing to the list, but because it's taxpayer dollars, I would like to receive a list of the J-class, just for interest, because I am
Just which
curious.
ones we've done over the last.
Not
or
what
the
we've
whole-
done,
the
but
whole thing.
the approvals this year in the province of Nova Scotia. Which roads were, because it's only 1 million, so there's not gonna be that, a million, it's not gonna be that many roads, I
No.
don't think. So it's gotta be a public document somewhere, I wouldn't
We
mind.
can make
no-
that request.
No rush on that, just curious, around the province, what roads, the list of
Okay.
roads, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, it came back to me, sorry. I've had a few calls from residents for J-class roads saying, well, why don't you pave the road? And I said, well, you know, and explained the situation, said, well, I was told that we can the municipality can pave the road.
oh, we can pay for it all if we
But what
want
they're not
to.
getting is the full picture, that if we pave the road, we have to take the road. And so there's a lot of
that
there's
was
so
a-
much miscommunication out there.
That was a previous proposal under the MOU, so that policy isn't official, that hasn't been approved right
Oh,
now. So
okay.
that was a proposal that had been made, but to my knowledge, that's
gone
not
away.
officially
Okay,
approved.
so that's not a policy.
No.
Okay, well, that's fine, then, because I told them, I said, well, you know, if we can't do that as a municipality, we have to take every road in the municipality, or 99.9% of them are provincially owned, we can't do that.
But if we start paving the whole damn thing
Well,
without anything from them, they'll never do anything.
No,
They'll
so-
expect us to do it all.
Anyway, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so what do we need? We need a motion? No.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. You need a motion to approve,
Signing
to
the
authorize
agreement.
the signatures, yeah.
Anybody prepared to move it?
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried.
Thank you.
Okay,
See ya.
12.9, district grants. There's a bunch of them. Do we just want to approve them all as a group?
So moved.
Seconded, discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried.
Thanks, Jed.
Okay, in camera. Oh, no, yeah, no, we don't have any other,
Yep, you just need in-camera, one item.
So moved.
seconded, discussion, all those in favor, opposed, motion's carried. signature?
Let us get,
Oh,
let us go.
okay, so a motion to authorize signing of
The
the,
execution of the agreement for the grant. Yeah.
yeah. Moved? Moved? Seconder?
Second.
Seconded? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. A motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded by everybody. All those in favor, everybody. Opposed? Motion